hopefully live. It says we're going live, we're live, yay! Hello everyone. This is the pre-show. Tell us if you can hear us. Tell us all the sort of bad things that we're doing wrong. Give us your feedback. Just the lads today, this morning, wherever you are. It's just the lads.
I think he's saying she's ill. No, she's not.
I reckon she's piking it. She's a piker.
I think she's too busy playing with it. I think she's bought a lot of new kit.
Or she's got the bottles of cider out of the car this week.
Right, now, I think my voice keeps popping into clipping mode, but maybe I need to put a compressor on this. I've moved the mic. Have I got a compressor on this? I need to just have a fiddle with the compressor. Pop. Yeah, that's better. Compressor's on. Hopefully that doesn't peak now. Beautiful. I
take it my volume's all right.
Yeah, you're fine.
Yeah, you're fine. Beautiful. Right, we've got Delorian. We have Xils-labs Music. We have Waldorf.
Is he in?
Yeah, he's in.
I've not seen Axel arrive yet.
He posted just after you. Yeah. Lazy Head's there. Inky's there. 888 Berg. Shumpy Joe. Hello to Shumpy Joe. I don't know if we've had Shumpy Joe before. Big welcome to you. And that is it so far.
That name. Hi,
Yeah.
Shumpy.
Beautiful.
That's Finn Corrigan.
Finn's just jumped in. Yep. Beautiful. How you going, Finn? So if you're new, like Shumpy, don't be shy. Be like Shumpy and jump straight into the chat room and say hi. Although I think everyone's actually in the chat room that's supposed to be here. It's an intimate affair, this show. What do we got? We've got a few things on, which is kind of why I've called it Synth Chat, because I didn't really want to sort of focus on one thing. There's a few different topics, and I didn't really sort of want to say, oh, it's going to be about MPC Live, oh, it's going to be about Pro One, or it's going to be about Darren not wearing a hat. But yeah, it could be, anything. So Mr. Max jumped in. Michael B's jumped in. Beautiful. All the locals. Make everyone feel at home. Now, I don't know if you guys have got the little message I sent out later on in the week. It was probably yesterday or the day before, about the Discord server. Now, the Discord server has been up for probably a year. I had to dust the cobwebs off the Discord server. I think there was a few spiders living in there. But I think we'll fire that back up because it lets us chat during the week between shows. And so we're going to get the Discord server pumping. And the other cool thing about the Discord server is it actually integrates with my YouTube channel. So if you do have Discord and you are watching on YouTube but you don't like chatting on YouTube live chat, you like to watch it on full screen, you can chuck yourself into Discord. The link is in the description for the Discord server. And jump into the channel live stream chat and you can see yourself chatting below. So there's the YouTube chatties on the right hand side, and the blue is the Discord chatties. So yeah, say something on Discord and see if it works. It's in the live stream chat channel if you're already in there. I double checked to make sure. I'm pretty sure I put the link in the description. I did just say that I did.
Don't like that.
Okay, Discord channel is not in the description. My apologies. Now I wonder if I don't know why that's not the case. Anyway, let me fix that up. Sorry, people. We do have a couple of minutes to spare, so these things are good to fix while we are. Let me click on a few links here. Hang on, that's not what I want. I want to go invite people. Click on copy. Click close. There we go. And if I save this, I wonder if it updates automatically for people or if they have to reload the page. Anyway, I've re-edited the description of the video. It's in there now. And I wonder if I have the ability to paste a link in chat. Look at that. See? We can do anything in here. Beautiful. I can even do this. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that. There's the Discord address, even if you don't want to click on the link. All right, so you don't have to be on Discord. This is just more for people who want to chat during the week, and I'll be around. I can't promise you'll be there 24/7, but try to be. Yeah, I'll be around, and I do want to kind of grow the community, because I think we like to chat about things and get ideas for the show. There's a couple of rooms in there that I've set up, and we can also play music in there. There's a bot called Fredbot, so you can play music in there. And what else have we got? Got Darren chewing. We can always just sample that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You need to mute yourself when you're doing that, matey. Jesus. Oh, I've got a really good one for you tonight, matey. You'll like this one on the scammers. You'll be very excited when we get to the eBay scammers. Yeah. So we got. Yeah. So it says that we've got 14 people watching. So. Just to let you guys know who are new, we don't start the show until the hour hits. In some places, if you like 888 Berg, it's the half hour hits, but yeah, it's about 8 minutes away. And I just heard my Discord go blip blip, so. Someone called Axe is in Discord. He says, yes, woo, lol. So jump into the channel live stream chat. There we go, worked it out. Look at those. Okay, let's see if it worked. There, look how instant that was. That was brilliant. There we go. See, it works. Wonders of technology. So now you can say something rude, and we'll all laugh like little children. Anyway, it's just interactive anyway. So I can't flag comments. You haven't worked out how to do that yet, and I can only flag comments on vMix Social through YouTube, but I'm talking to the guys at vMix over in Queensland in Australia, the developers, and see if they can bring Discord in, because I've got the ability to do Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and IRC. Now if they've got IRC, they should be able to do Discord, I reckon. What do you guys think? I mean, IRC is like the Stone Ages, isn't it? Who's using IRC still?
No,
hey, ASIO.
You know what it is?
ASIO, I'm making a joke with ASIO here. RIP Genesis.
Do we need to talk about Akai? Oh, somebody said something about the Moog Subhuman. Throbbing Gristle had a track called Subhuman. I just thought it was a connection, and then I think yes, Finn's there. He's just said, love a bit of Genesis P. Orridge. He died. Did he die last year? I think he did.
Okay.
He was one of the main people in the sort of industrial band Throbbing Gristle.
Yeah, I remember actually. I think we might have even. Darren, I think we talked about it on the stream about a year ago, didn't we? Throbbing Gristle. I remember.
Oh God, yeah.
Well, maybe
2 days is long enough for me. I can't remember.
Hanway's Hanway's just joined us too. So just to let you guys know, Hanway is also on Discord. He's been saying hello to everyone. So Hanway, if you're still on Discord, don't forget to jump in the live stream chat channel, and you can actually post your comments in there as well, and you can see it below, like I was showing there, just below me. And I'm trying a new camera angle out today. So I was talking to the boys before. I've got the camera here, and just above it is a little Shinobi camera screen that you put on top of your DSLR camera, so you can tether your photos to it. Actually, you can use it as a computer monitor. So I'm actually outputting the stream to that, and I can see exactly what my ugliness looks like. I have to feel sorry for you guys. You have to look at that. That's terrible. There we go. Okay, so Delorian is Axe in Discord, everyone. That's his... There you go. See that? He can't change his nickname.
Oh, so, well, that's, yeah, right.
Ah, well, mate, you're stuck with it. And I can just hear, like, yeah, it's going beautiful. Awesome. All right, so what else we got? So we got Darren, we got Andy, me. That's all there is, just the lads, and we got a whole bunch of cool people in the chat. So, like I said, we're going to do a bit of a synth chat to sort of talk about what you guys, want to talk about. Really, I want to make it more about you guys. There is a couple of topics that we'll address, which I've mentioned. Axelsoft says, I don't see the chat in Discord. Okay. Inky's just popped in there. Let's see if Inky's message worked. There you go. So if you go into the server and you click on the text channels, there's a live stream chat room just for Axelsoft. Beautiful. All right. So yeah, as I was saying, we'll be talking about. I want to talk about what you guys want to talk about this week, which I kind of said in the video thing. We'll be looking at, new things that I'll be getting here, and I want new things that you guys will be getting in your studio or home studio. And we're going to ask what stuff will give you gas right now, and I'm not talking about the local fish and chip shop. Plus, yeah, we've got normal stuff as well. Well, yeah, in Darren's case, it might be the local curry shop that gives him gas. Do you have?
I'm nowhere near there.
Do you have local curry and chips? Is that what you guys do? Curry and chips?
I'm not one for curry, to be honest. Used to be, but since I've got older.
It was like a big thing for me when I was over in the UK. Everyone was having curry and chips. In Australia, we have chips and gravy. And in the UK, everyone seemed to be having chips and curry. So it was kind of like
I think that's where you go.
It was a thing. And I actually didn't mind it. I thought it was quite nice. So I kind of miss
chips,
it.
cheese and gravy is what?
Chips, cheese and gravy. It's not really summer sort of food though, is it? It's more winter food.
Anytime.
Oh, okay. If you guys are not seeing the channels in Discord, you have to, I believe, agree to the terms of the channel, which is under rules, under information, somewhere that you'll see, yeah. You guys, once you've done that, then you become members and you'll see it. Try a Cornish pasty sandwich. I've had a Cornish pasty. I don't know what a Cornish pasty sandwich is, though. Is that a sandwich like bread with a Cornish pasty inside? Don't Cornish pasties have pastry around them?
It's just silly. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's with all the carbs? You might as well just have have a glass of flour. Just drink it.
I love curry.
Look, we can have deep fried Mars bars.
I've never ever wanted to put curry on chips. It just seems silly, but I know people love it. Deep fried Mars bars. I had one of those in Glasgow. Once is enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, my son actually manages the Discord channel, so if there's any dramas with getting into any of the chat rooms, just let me know and I can give him a slap across the back of the head. It's always good to slap your son across the back of the head. I like it. Just like my dad did to me. Beautiful. There you go. Michael's worked it out. So once you agree to the rules, then you can become a member, and then they'll let you in. It's just standard rules. Just be nice, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, I probably should start the stream in a sec. It's about a minute away. Live chat now. Here we go. Let's see if Mike's working. There you go. Look at that. Michael B's in. Beautiful. So it's literally just we'll do the live stream chat channel just for the streams, and then general whatever is other channels for during the week, synths and gear, all that sort of stuff. So that's what that's all about. Anyway, I'm going to start the stream, and I forget which button I have to press, so I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way and hit this one. Here we go. Restart. Let's do a sexy cube zoom. What happened? It's gone blank. Hey, there we go. That was a bit weird. A few things are broken. Welcome to the stream. If you're new here, big warm welcome to you. And if you're not new here, I'm very, very sorry for you. Anyway, this is a show about what's it about? Macrame and knitting. So hopefully you've brought your knitting needles and a yarn of wool, because sit back and relax, and we're going to take you all through how to cross stitch this evening. So hope you enjoy it. All right, without further ado, I might say good day to my fellow knitters, and we'll start with Darren. How's it going, Darren?
Good day. Not bad. Last time in the studio, but hopefully money to spend on things.
Fantastic. And it sounds like you've got a tiny little bit of reverb happening on your voice there. So, yeah, awesome. We'll go to...
Is that better?
Yeah, a little bit better. Beautiful. Go to Andrew. How you going, Andrew? Nice to see you.
Fine, thank you. I had a busy week. Working from home, you'd think you're just sitting on your bum doing nothing. I've been so busy. Sitting in front of the computer, doing a load of marking and lesson planning. It's actually been quite fun, but yeah, it's like Darren says, less time for actually playing about with things. Although I did get a chance to sort of play about with some video editing software, and I'm learning very quickly how rubbish I am at it. I really find it so difficult. You know, old dog and new tricks and all that stuff.
Video editing. When I ever do video editing, it ends up being like cheesy transitions, and everyone comments on my videos about like, where did I get my transitions from? The 80s. So yeah, now I'm just kind of, I've just earned a reputation of having cheesy 80 transitions.
Transitions. That's clever.
Well, that's about as clever it gets. Like, beautiful. Big hello to all the chatties. Now, as I mentioned before the show officially started, we have a new kind of setup. Nothing majorly new, but now we've got the Discord chat below us, and we're going to be running Discord 24/7. So it just keeps us connected during the week. When we get bored, we can still chat to each other. Obviously, we only do one stream a week, so but also we've got the YouTube chat on the other side of me just there. Now also I've moved my mic in front of my face, so hopefully my audio comes through a bit nicer, a bit more radio style. Someone suggested that I should do that. So we'll see how that works. The only problem with it is that I can't see anything below me. I've got a lot of controllers and things down there. So I'm going to have to kind of move my head and do that sort of stuff. But the other new thing is I've got a camera slightly moved like I normally do, but just above it is that there's a little screen, so I can actually kind of look at the screen and I'm kind of look like I'm looking at the camera. So hopefully that improves my connection to you guys, and you'll enjoy the presence a bit better. Trying to, well, geez, I was going to say professional art, but I don't think I could ever be professional. Geez, that would be a joke, wouldn't it? Anyway, all right. Without further ado, I think we should start with the thingos. What am I calling the usual regular segments? Now I can't even remember what buttons to press. I think it's this one. Now hopefully this works. And yes, you've made it to the end of the internet, like I like to say every week, where stranger things can happen. This is where we actually do funny stuff, and we find, well, you might not find it funny, but who cares? Anyway, we'll start off with the first one, and that is obviously if you've been living under a rock, the NPC Live 2 came out, and for those who watched the video, it said something about professional studio monitors. Sorry, I'm just trying to keep a straight face here and it's not working. Professional studio monitors, hey? So yeah, just have a look what Drake thinks. He thinks they're definitely professional. So I don't know, Akai, if they're really professional studio monitors. Maybe you might want to have a talk to Adam and Eve. They might have a different opinion about that. Anyway, moving right along. How about this one? I found this old tape, so I gave it a play. Don't recommend it at all. Head Cleaner, worst band ever. Beautiful. So yeah, that's that one. I think I've got one of those still lying around still. Remember you had to drop a little bit of fluid on the little sort of velour felty sort of thing, didn't you? Bit of cleaner fluid. Yep. And then you'd pull it out afterwards and you'd check to see how dirty it was. And for me, it never looked dirty. I'm like, why did I do this? Why do I bother? Coming right along. Here we go. Synths are essential for survival. The dinosaurs didn't have synths. And look what happened to them. There you go. So someone's been very bored during COVID-19, I would suggest. Now, I can't remember if we've got a special send-in from one of our normal regulars in the channel. Let's see if it works. Aha! Now, Inky, I don't know if you're watching, but it looks like Behringer have released a pink edition to the MS1 or the MS101. So there you go. Now, I believe this is an exclusive. Xilsoft may want to tell us more about it, but I believe there's actually more shots that we can show you. Look at that. Doesn't it look beautiful? I'd actually buy one of these. I think that looks amazing. And not only that, but obviously there's more shots on site. There's the key. We may
look at the handle.
We may need to have a bit of a closer look at that, of course. So, anyway, moving right along. Gentlemen, was that a little bit too risky, do you think?
I think somebody's been very
This channel's gone downhill.
Well, I don't know where Xilsoft has gone, but he might want to explain himself. If you want to know what the handle is about, ask
Come on,
Xilsoft.
Give us an explanation.
All right, let's before we damage ourselves anymore, let's move on to the next segment. And there is a bit of news this week, so let's roll the stinger. Welcome to the news, and as I like to call it, this is the news that's come here from the Geekery because I haven't actually left my seat, and I found this news for you. The wonders of Google. Isn't that amazing? Now, I know you guys don't know how to use Google, so you probably have never ever heard of this bit of news. It's only because I showed it last week. The only reason why I'm showing it to you again is because it actually did come out during the week, and I was sitting there for good part of the day hitting the refresh button on my browser until the firmware download came. I'll check it out a bit later with you guys, so I thought I'd just quickly tell you about that. So if you are living under a rock and you do have an MPC Live, an MPC X or an MPC One, Xilsoft, you got your MPC One yet? There is a new firmware out. And it also is the software as well, not just the firmware. So the MPC software, which you install on your Mac or your PC. So that is out. All right, next one. What about this? Did you guys see the news? Behringer,
missed that one.
Yeah, they're talking about going into DJ land and releasing a controller and a sampler and all that sort of stuff. And they've come up with this render. It's called Behringer Jam, and they've started a new Facebook group, and they're getting the whole world to tell them how to do their job. So that'll be interesting. Anyway, moving right along. There isn't a video or anything, so sorry about that. But there is a video for this one, and that is this really cool little sort of chiptune-y thing called the Invader. It's by Error Instruments. It's called the Invader Box, and it's a little battery-operated chiptune synth. It's kind of got a special kind of way of creating a wide range of retro gaming sort of sounds. If you're into that sort of geeky Commodore 64 stuff, you probably know that I am. This might actually be right up your alley. But anyway, I do have a little video for this. Now let's see if I've got it all working properly. Turn that off for a start. And if I'm correct, it should be the first video. Bang. Here we go. Look at that. I'm actually organized today.
Okay, hello, this is Baltas, Error Instruments, and this is the Invader Box. What is it? It's a kind of chiptune game sound box with algorithms that remind you of the vintage games like Invader or more. Mario is not on there, and this kind of things. No, it's just also a noise box to make experimental bleeps and bloops. Especially the minimum microtone are really, really, really good. Yes, let's start with a little bit microtone kind of sound. There are presets if you push on this knob.
Anyway, it's very 8-bitty, as you can probably see, and yeah, so that is the Invader box, and it's 129 euros. It's available now, so rush out and buy it, and I won't get any money, but that's okay. Check it out for Error Instruments. I'll put a link to the video, to put a link to their channel and everything later on in the description. There isn't a huge amount of news, guys, but anyway, how did you enjoy the news?
Yeah. Am I on?
Yes, you're on.
Yeah, the news is great. Not sure about the chip box. It's one of those, isn't it? You either like them or you don't. Oh, well, that's it. I'm off.
I just pressed the wrong button then. Sorry about that. You keep
What
going.
happened to your MIDI controller with your buttons?
Because the mic's in the wrong way. I kept hitting the wrong buttons. Anyway, now I don't know which buttons to press now. I'm stuffed. Keep going.
What was that? Yeah, the chip box. It's one of those, isn't it? It's not my type of thing, but some people like that thing. So
Yeah.
yeah. Akai with the MPC2. I just don't get those speakers. They could have done something else with that. I don't get the speakers.
There was another thing that released during the week, and the guys are talking about it in chat. So I don't want to give this company too much airtime, because they just don't look after people like us. But if Korg were to release one of their classics, you guys would know what I'm talking about. But yeah, we can talk about it if you want. I just purposely didn't talk about it. Anyway, Andy, did you have any opinions about any of the news?
I can't get excited about those chip-tune things. I've never really understood it. And the MPC Live 2, I just think that's a really interesting box. And the fact that they've now put CV gate control on it, I think that's a good thing for those people that have got other stuff. So I'm sure, Darren, that would be useful to you. But it is pricey. It's powerful, but it's pricey. I think I would be quite interested, but it would be a little bit way down my list of purchases. So
Yeah,
it's definitely a worthy update to it. I'm sure somebody like Inky would definitely be. She's got an MPC Live, I think, and and loves it. So I'm sure she'd probably be better want to comment on it, really.
Inky's got a Live and a Force as well, so she's got both. If I remember rightly. So yeah, the firmware update hasn't come out for the Force yet, but I don't think that'll be too much longer down the track.
I'm not really sure what the difference is between the two, actually. What is the difference between the MPC Live and the Force?
Well, the Force is more kind of like a clip launcher, a little bit like Ableton, where you've got the like the grid, and you can launch clips. And it's that's very, very basically sort of explaining it. Whereas they both do similar things. They both sample. They both got similar firmwares, but the Force is more for clip launching, and it's kind of that grid, that sort of setup. Whereas the Live is more just the the sampler, like sort of traditional MPC, but with a touchscreen. Now the thing is that came out with the Live 2 is obviously on the joke I showed before. It's the split, the speaker underneath, but that wasn't the only thing that it had that was new. It had CV connectivity at the back, like the MPC One does, and it has some extra buttons, like a big volume control on the top. And another good thing that it has on the back is it's got the Ethernet port on the back as well. So there's a good video, but Lupop actually showed that he compared the MPC Live to the One and to the Live 2. So if there's no point in me talking about it. If you want to go check it out, go check out Lupop's channel. It's probably one of the latest videos on his channel. Now for me, I don't need to rush out and buy an MPC Live 2 because I've got an MPC Live. And for the people that are in the market for an MPC Live right now, will know that you actually can't get one. According to all the feedback that I've been getting from people, it's very, very difficult to get one. And if you do get one, it's probably been sitting in there for a year or two. So from what I've been told, they're not releasing any of the new MPC Live version 1s. They're going to be obviously shipping the MPC Live 2, and I believe it's actually very soon. So within a couple of weeks, you'll be able to get an MPC Live 2. So
I said that as soon as the... This is what I said about quite a few months back when the MPC Live suddenly started disappearing off. Oh, just before they brought the MPC One out, the MPC Live started to get really hard to get hold of. And I said, are they making a second one? And it turns out they did. Those speakers, I just really do. I mean, you could have put a line of, a line of macro knobs on there, anything. Are you still getting me, by the way? Can I hear anything?
Yeah, we can hear. I just muted my mic because I was drinking and I didn't want you guys to hear me slurping and things like that. That's okay. I was just trying to be polite, and it probably sounded very quiet because I muted. But anyway, absolutely right. I think we even talked about it. I think I mentioned that the MPC One might have been the reason why they weren't shipping the MPC Live, but it looks like that's not the case. It looks like because like you said, they're going to release the MPC Live 2. Let us know in the chat. Andy, you want to go first? Yeah, let us.
I have to agree with Darren about the built-in speakers. I mean, built-in speakers on things are never any good. It just seems pointless. You're hardly ever going to use them. The built-in speakers on things like the Volkers or the little built-in speaker on the Roland boutique thing, they're just crap. Why would you bother? So I'm with Darren. It just is redundant space and extra weight, and it could have been used far better with, like Darren said, some extra knobs or a ribbon controller or anything really. But little. I mean, I've heard. I mean, Gaz Williams was saying that. Oh yeah, they sound quite nice actually, but still, they're never going to sound like your own studio speakers, are you? Are they?
And you're never going to be playing about live with it, are you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing too is that you can just buy a soundbar from your local, hi-fi shop or electronic shop. Those soundbars have got little subwoofers in them, and they all sound pretty decent, don't they? So, I agree with you guys. I think. Look, there's plenty of people that will probably disagree with this, but just take a little Bluetooth speaker with you.
If you're going to take it down to the park and play with it, you're still probably going to put headphones in the back of it. So,
unless you're one of these, one of these people that likes to punish people with your music in the park.
One thing, do you think they sat down and said, well, we're going to improve the MPC Live, and they come up with quite a bunch of other ideas, and then it says, a lot of Volkers and things like that have got speakers. I mean, we've got this space at the bottom in the design. How about we stick some speakers in there for no point, really. Like Andrew says.
I believe people actually ask for it.
Excellent.
I've been told people actually ask for it.
I can't believe that.
Yeah, I actually have been told that. And I'm with you guys. I think it's silly. But, how many people ask for it is the one that scratches our heads, isn't it? So if they had a lot of people asking for it, maybe there's a culture out there that we're just not aware of. It's in the dark net. You have to have a special login.
Inbuilt speaker culture.
Yeah. Anyway, we shall move along. So we've done, I think the next segment we've got is this one, if I remember rightly. And I do have a few things coming up in this one. It's actually quite funny when you prepare for this segment. You think to yourself, I've got nothing. It's going to be, I'll just skip it for the week. But within a few seconds, bang, they all come flooding in. Darren, TR-909, right? Now, this thing looks absolutely shocking, by the way. This is the reason why I'm showing it. The price is probably about right. So it's not about scare me on the price. It's about scare me on just how this thing looks. And this listing, if you Google, so if you eBay this, you'll see it straight away. Have a look at the pictures in there. It's not a great picture here, but what I wanted to show you, this is not the worst looking TR-909 that I've seen. So this one's pretty bad, but I mean, geez, that one came out of the sewer. But this is not the worst one I've seen. I actually have seen worse. Now let me see if I can find it for you guys. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna have to turn that.
You'll
one
need to
off.
spend 2,000 on restoration.
Check this out. That'd have to be the worst looking TR-909 in the world. I mean, where did this guy go? Did he go like Bangladesh and think, all right, I'm gonna hide all the Bangladesh viewers, by the way. I'm gonna go and pimp out my 909 in Bangladesh. I'm gonna get the lady that does the threading. She'll do a little tattoo on. And she's, wow, look at that. That would have to be the worst 909 I've ever seen. Tell us in the chat if you're falling in love with that, if you've got gas for that 909.
It's somebody who's just lost their marbles listening to too much side trance. Monotonous, boring, tedious side trance. I know. I'll henna my 909. What a nutcase.
I will say something. It'll be definitely original.
Well, anyway, so
They're
you can
cheaper than anything else as well.
Well, you can definitely get yourself that one. I mean, that one looked like it came out of a sewer. But maybe you could take that to Bangladesh and get yourself pimped up as well. Anyway, moving right along. If you're into pedals, apparently this one is a Boss clone. I have never ever heard of this. So this is a clone of a Boss pedal, and I just thought this just absolutely has to go on my eBay price watch section. There's nothing wrong with the price. There's nothing wrong with a pedal, but question marks about cloning the Boss pedals. Hey, Behringer. Anyway, next, moving right along. Darren, this is for you, matey. Oh, dearie me. Now, this is about £500. £500, okay? Just to put you guys in perspective of the price, so don't get too excited. So about $650 US, £500, somewhere around there, right? Now, whereabouts is that? That is in Australia. So I'm actually getting excited because you guys know that I've actually recently bought one of these, and it only cost me about 50 quid. So yeah, that's 10% of what this guy's selling yours for. Wow, how good's that, hey? MC303.
Do you think he's got confused?
Oh, absolutely. He's definitely got confused. Ah, dear.
No, he's not. The person who buys it has.
The person who buys it is a fanboy. Fanboy. All right, and the last one that we've got, no, that's not the last one. Here we go. The last one we got is this one. Another DX7 has popped out with, this is a DX7 FD2. So I don't think this is the same as the one I showed a few weeks ago. I think it's different. But £735 for a DX7 FD2 is the same as my DX7. I can let you know that maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I paid $300 Australian for mine. So, yeah, £150. And I never thought they went up in price. So this definitely has got me, I'm not saying this is a scam. This has got me interested because I actually don't think, I think DX7s are going up in price. And I think this is actually probably a cool thing for those who are thinking about, well, my DX7's been sitting there and I'm not using it anymore because there's so many cool VSTs that literally just do the same job, so I might move it on. Maybe it's a good time to move on your DX7. I don't know. Let us know in the chat anyway. Let's have a quick look at what the chatties have been talking about. Quickly move to that. Jeez, I've been busy. Fantastic. Yes, absolutely. DX7, yes, nasty. All right. What did you guys think of the eBay sort of pricey sort of stuff this week? Andy, you want to go first?
The nicotine covered 909. I don't know why anybody would want to buy one anyway at that sort of price. I'm not really a purist about these sort of things, and nor am I a collector. If you really are a collector and you're desperate to have it, I guess you might say, well, I can clean it up all right, but it's still an awful lot of money. What was the next thing after that? The
Boss pedal.
The Boss pedal. Well, I held up. I've got one of those. That's a Boss Heavy Metal HM2. I bought it for, I think, £10 off a friend of mine. Apparently, they're going for about £150 on eBay now. So it's one of the few things I've ever bought that's gone up in value. I bought it to put synths through, and it basically just reduces it all to a sine wave. I don't know. It's not that great, so I might sell that one on eBay if anybody wants it. Yeah, DX7s.
The blues one's better.
Oh God. Say again, Darren.
The blues overdrive's better for putting synths through, especially anything acid.
Right, I'll bet that. Yeah, because I bought that for a friend years and years and years ago. So the fact that it's not that great with synths isn't really a big deal. But yeah, the DX7. I think people know that I just loathe it really. It just annoys me. I hated it in the 1980s when it came out. It was just like the death of synthesizers for me. The one saving grace for the DX7 is it does have an extremely nice playable keyboard. So if you're a keyboard player, it's really nice and really responsive. It's just a pity it's attached to those minging sounds. Don't like it. Never have done. No one will ever convince me different. I've got a Volker FM just in case anybody else can, because it's got knobs and I can tweak it. But that's my only concession.
The DX7.
I'm sure people will hate me for that.
No, I won't hate you for it. The DX7 II, which is the one they showed in that listing, is actually the same as mine, and it's even better. So it's a better keyboard, and it's a better. It's actually heavier. It doesn't have the membrane. It's got push buttons. It's like classed up even more. It's got more. I think it's like double the amount of sounds on it as well. So yeah, it's actually a really, really good synth. There's nothing wrong with it. If you're into FM, it actually has a really nice DA in it too. It's the 2. It's not the original. The original is a bit noisy. Some people will slap me for that, but I still believe the DX7 II was better for sound. Fanboys who like the original will probably tell me off. But yeah, so it looks to me, gut feeling like they're going up in price, and that is actually kind of cool because that's what we expect vintage digital to do. We expect it to do what vintage analog did, because there's going to be like, Darren's sitting there, and behind Darren, he's got the quasi MIDI Raven, behind him.
Oh, yeah.
And that will no doubt be something that people will be sorting after. There's also the XP50 you've got as well. So they're both
XP50, yeah.
Yeah, so they're both 90s.
AM1X.
AM1X, a bit later in the 90s. So yeah, maybe not quite the AM1X yet, but they maintained their value, the AM1X, didn't they? They never really went down. So yeah. But the XP50 definitely took a price hit, and I reckon they'll start coming back up again. Just my opinion anyway. Yes.
You can get some really good deals on eBay on all of that sort of family of Roland synths. The JV1080, the JV2080, the XP50, the XP80. They're all going for actually really reasonable prices for what are actually extremely flexible synthesizers. I sort of slightly hanker after one of those myself because they really do. I mean, I know it's sort of the sample synthesis sort of brand, but they do sound very nice. Quite envious of Darren's 50.
And you've got the expansion ports on it, so you put your. I think that one can fit 4 cards. I've got the techno card and I think it's the hardcore card. I'm not sure. In this one, I wanted the strings card as well, but they're ridiculous price. They're almost as priced as a synth, I think.
Yeah, I remember because I had an XP30 which is like probably the newest of the whole XP range that they ever brought out. I think it was like early 2000s, and I had I think 5 of those cards. One of them was called Vintage as well, which was supposed to be kind of like an analog retro thing, and it absolutely sounded naff. But in a way, it probably, it's typical Roland, isn't it? They kind of sampled they sampled themselves to the point, where they actually sampled themselves pretty nicely. Their PCMs were actually really top quality, and you could, with their engine in the XP, you could actually manipulate it with a bit of synthesis as well. So it wasn't too bad. It just, you had the standard stuff where you had a stepping sounded filter and those sort of thing, those standard sort of 90s problems. But it really all kind of started with the D50, didn't it? So with the LA synthesis, I mean, that's where it started. So yeah.
The thing is, when you put any sort of synth through a really, really lush reverb and delay, you sort of, it doesn't really matter what it is, does it? You start to lose the really bad quality of the synth when it's gone through all that.
Yeah,
get some lovely drones.
I always thought Roland beef up their outputs. They've definitely got some sort of, I don't know whether it's a like a on their amplifier side, whether they've got some sort of EQ or something. They're always beefing up the sound of their outputs. I mean, even if you listen to the MX1 mixer, it has a kind of richness to it. It doesn't sound natural and flat like a tone would through it. It always sounds like it's been treated. And a lot of people who I've spoken to about it agree that the Roland hardware has that sort of that sound. So I mean, that probably is a standard thing that they do now, because I reckon if they stopped doing it, people would be complaining that their stuff sounded different. So there you go. What do you think, Darren? Do you think it's got a standard sort of fatness to it, or roundness?
Yeah, well, like I say, I think most Roland stuff seems to have, especially from that era all the way up. I mean, like you say, I think they've kept it. I don't know, it's hard to explain it. Like you say, it's on the out, as it comes out of the Roland device, it just seems to have that, I don't know, that's like oomph, doesn't it? I think you was talking about when you said about the MX1, even though it's quite noisy, it still has that something about it when it's coming out of the outputs. Yeah,
you can play with it too. You've got the mastering, function on it, so you can actually change the mastering on it and change how that sounds. You can also sort of back it off as well too. So yeah, they actually are kind of deliberate with the MX1, almost to the point where now, it's like, oh yeah, you found us out. We we do it here. Have all the features, and we'll let you play with them. I think that's a good idea.
Now,
let people turn it on.
You see,
off.
I would have thought. No, you see, I would have thought they'd have come out with an MX2, but that's it. It seems to have gone by the waistline, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The question is, what did we want in the MX? So that could be a topic for another show. But yeah, whatever you do, don't tell Behringer. Axelsoft has mentioned. Why did I not mention the Xenology release in the news? And the reason for it is I actually haven't had a chance to really read up on it, and I don't want to sound like a prat talking about something that I haven't really read up on. I do know about it. I'm actually a Roland Cloud subscriber. I have been since day one. Even when they had the Roland Cloud beta, I was a subscriber. It does sound interesting. They've got now, this is just off the top of my head, so Pratt warning coming. So they've got a new Roland Cloud revamp done, and part of it is they're releasing the Zen Core engine in there, which is pretty exciting for those who have got the Jupiter X and the Jupiter XM synths, and also the MC707s and MC101 have got those Zen Core synthesis in them. Phantom, I think, maybe in there as well. But not only that, you can now, your subscription, you've got a couple of different options. So it's not just one subscription fee. You can sort of go, I can't remember what they are, but there's 3 different levels. And the one I'm on is the top, but it doesn't matter because that's what I was already on before. and it means you've got access on the top one. You've got access to the Zen Core. I haven't even downloaded it to check it out yet. So, but the cool thing for me is that, and for you guys as well, is that if you've never owned a synth that I mentioned before, a Jupiter XM or MC707 with the Zen Core in it, you can now get yourself the Zen Core through Roland Cloud and go check it out. So to me, it's actually quite clever, but that's about as far as my knowledge goes with it. So hopefully that fulfilled Xils-labs' request. He's asking me if the new sub plan, do you still get to keep one soft synth after 12 months? So they did talk about I don't know if they're going to do that, what you said, because they did used to do that, but they are talking about whether you can actually buy a lifetime soft synth and you just pay a fee and it's yours. And so I don't know how that works. But yeah, need to check into it.
Subscriptions for you.
Exactly. Need to check into it. I was a little bit peeved that Roland didn't give us a little bit of a repeaval for the COVID-19, expecting all us musos to keep paying our subscriptions. But anyway, so hello to Music's Co. Fantastic to see you. Nice to see you. Anyway, let's
won't go down that. Won't go down that subscription route, because if I was to subscribe to every Yador, Roland Cloud, for instance, say Isotope with subscription, say they're all, I don't know, £5. That's four that I'd be subscribed to monthly, and that's before you start going into anything else. I mean, your bill would be astronomical, and it'd be just constantly going out.
Yeah, and you've got those sample ones as well, haven't you? The sample, the subscriptions as well. Those libraries like Splice, is it? I think it's Splice is one. But yeah. So,
and it just tots up, and before you know it, your outgoings is, per year is ridiculous. Unless you're literally in the game where you need all that stuff and you're making money from it, and fair enough.
Fair enough. Everybody leave Darren alone about his haircut. They're all having a go at him, mate. Look, when you get to my age, and my hair is actually, it can grow quite long. I could have crazy 70s hair if I wanted to, but it's because it's nearly all white. I actually just much prefer it. I just use a number one clipper, and it's so cheap when you're in COVID-19 lockdown. You just cut your own hair. So whether it makes me look sexy or not, that's not my problem. I really couldn't care. But anyway, Music's Co is asking if we are in Australia. No, the two other gentlemen in this the two other gentlemen in this live stream are from the UK. You got Andy from Sheffield in England, and you've got Darren from a place where they shave their head in Manchester. And you're a wally. Anyway, tell us where you're from, Music's Co. But yeah, I'm definitely not bald. So a lot of people say that about me. They say, "Oh, you bald?" No, definitely not bald. Anyway, let's go to the chatties. So I mentioned before we have got Discord running below, so that's a new thing for the stream, and that'll keep running definitely from during the week when we're not streaming, of course, so we can keep conversations going. The Discord link for the server is just below. You'll see in my bubble, right down the bottom of the screen. You want to type that into your browser, or into your Discord app. Okay, so who have we got? Michael Elliott's there. G'day to you. As I said, Music's Co is there. Stephen Roland is good. Beautiful. Wagu's there. Inky. Inky's was going to be on the show, wasn't going to be on the show, was going to be on the show. Anyway, Inky's in the chat, so it's nice to have Xils-labs there. 888 Berg. So yeah, we'll keep going. If you do want to say anything and you want me to flag that, put my name at the front, because it actually highlights my It highlights the line with a little red sort of thing around my name, and that way, if you want me to sort of get my attention, then I can pop it in the bubble right down the bottom and we can talk about it. So this segment now is our synth chat segment, and we've got a few things to chat about. So as I mentioned before, I kind of wanted to chat to you guys in chat, and also you guys, Andy and Darren, about new things that are coming to your studio. And I'll start off and I'll tell you what's coming to mine, and you guys probably already know because you follow me on social media. But so that's the first thing, new things that are coming to your studio. Let us know about that. The second thing is what synth is giving you gas right now, and I'm not talking about the local curry shop. Gas is in, gear acquisition syndrome. What are you kind of making your wallet squirm about right now? And so I thought there's two questions that we could definitely talk to. We'll also have a look at the new NPC Live 2.8 firmware. I've got that installed. And the other thing that we've got happening here is I've recently got myself a Behringer Pro 1. I decided to get it. I was reluctant to get it, but I decided to get it because I think to myself at the moment, with the prices, my exchange rate in Australia is terrible, and the prices of sequential and DSI synths, it's going to be a long time before I'll ever be able to afford one. The Rev 2 is probably the closest that I'll ever be able to afford at the moment, and I'm on the fence with the Rev 2, so I don't think it excites me as much as the Prophet 6 or the OB6. They're the ones that kind of excite me more at the sequential sort of land. But to get a sequential sound, Behringer made this Pro 1. And I have to admit, and Andy, you're probably a little bit to blame, in a good way, of course.
Good.
But I have to admit, this thing is absolutely nasty fat. Beautiful sounding. And I can see why you were happy, because your actual real Pro 1, which is behind you looking like it's on meth,
Yeah.
that's that one obviously is sick and not well, but now you've got the Behringer one, haven't you? So yeah. So let's just see if we got this thing working. Now I probably should turn my camera on, shouldn't I? Here we go. I can probably get this thing working. All right, now. What I love I'm actually still learning this. So Andy, you're going to tell me what I'm doing wrong and doing right on this thing, right? But let's get this.
Sounds nice to me.
I love playing with this envelope. What have we got? Active step on here. So let's turn some steps off. Try to get this sounding a little bit less. Trying to get this thing sounding a little bit less. So it's got that standard thing, Andy, where the filter pumps up a little bit. which is, means there's no treatment. Let's change a bit of this. Let's go. Anyway, that's the Pro 1. A little bit of a listen to that. Now, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Pro 1 or heard the Pro 1, so now you have. Sorry if I've made it sound like shit, Andy.
Can I respond to
Yeah.
No, you didn't. No. Can I respond to a comment that was in the chat from Mac Mister about the envelopes, whether they're clicky? They should be clicky.
Yeah, absolutely.
They are supposed to be very, very fast. And sometimes if you don't want that little click at the beginning, you just edge the attack up a little bit in it, and you lose the click. But that's part of the point. The envelopes really are very snappy on the original Pro 1, and the Behringer.
Yeah, they are.
Does it just as well. It does it just as well. So
I should mention too, Andy, that was completely CV. There was no MIDI in that. I know there's MIDI.
Right, yeah, you got the little SQ1 going, yeah.
But the MIDI cable's not connected at the moment, so that was all CV.
Yeah.
And obviously, one of the things I've learnt that if you want to use CV, you've got to play with this repeat and normal switch here. So I haven't quite worked out how to use this. This has only been in my studio for a couple of days.
The retrig button, okay, with retrig and normal. That's for when you're playing it from a keyboard. It means it will re-trigger the amp envelope on every key press.
Yep.
If you have it set to normal and you play legato, it won't re-trigger the envelope like a mini Moog does.
Yeah. Sorry, I meant the one next to it. Sorry.
Which the
one next to it's repeat and it's got /ext.
External.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's for external control.
Which is CV.
So you need to press. You need to press that up when you've got it on CV. I've not done that yet. I've just got mine on MIDI.
Yeah. Sorry, I should have had you
just
there.
If
That's
I
what
hear this now, can you?
Yeah, go for it, mate.
Can you hear this? I just wonder if you can hear this. Is that coming through? Can you hear that?
Yeah, absolutely. So peaking a little bit though. just put it down a bit. Yeah. Beautiful.
I can't hear it. Interesting. I can't hear it because. No, not to worry.
Yeah. Sounds beautiful, doesn't it? I mean, it's another analog mono synth, isn't it? It's another one, but it really does have its own. It has its own energy about it, and like you were saying, I think you were talking to me, Andy, in some other. I can't remember if it was on Facebook or something, but they've got the same oscillators, haven't they? Have they got the 3340s? Is that what they're called?
340s.
3340s, yeah, 3340, yeah.
They are Behringer's 3340s. I'm not quite sure what difference. I might have said this last week, but the original SH101 also had a 3340 oscillator, and it sounded totally different. It's a totally different sound to the Pro 1 oscillator. I don't really know why that is, because technically it's the same chip, but they certainly sounded different. So
and we know that
it is a lovely sound that comes out of the Pro 1.
Okay, so we know there's a couple of things that are shaping the sound differently. That, for example, the Neutron has got the same oscillator in it, and the Roland SH101 or the MS101 for the Behringer has the same oscillator in it. But what we know that's different is the filter in it's definitely different because it's got a Curtis filter in the Pro 1, doesn't it, I believe? And correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong, but usually Dave Smith and Sequential put Curtis filters in most of their stuff. So I could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure it's Curtis. And the way, this is what I was playing with, just with that envelope amount knob before, that envelope in that synth is very, very different to the envelope in the, for example, the Neutron. It's very, very different to the envelope in the MS101 or SH101. So just with a different sort of curve on the envelope. Like Mr. Mac was spot on when he was saying, does it sound clicky? Well, that's exactly one of its characters. But also...
They're exponential envelopes as well.
They're exponential, yeah.
I think the SH might be linear. The Roland ones might, whether in straight lines.
Yeah.
These are definitely curves, and it does have a different sound. It's sort of got a more natural sound. So if you've got very short, plucky sounds, they actually sound
creamy.
Quite.
Yeah.
Yeah, naturalistic.
It's got a roundness to it, yeah, which is probably why the exponential part of it, it's almost like it's slewing the envelope, the sharpness off the envelope.
I think there's also there is a certain drive in the sound that, so a bit like on the Moog with a filter that.
Yep.
There's a certain
feedback in it. Yeah.
Fuzz. It's not discernible distortion. It's just a warmth, a sort of width in the sound, which is really nice. And the Behringer Pro one has definitely got that. They've got that spot on.
Yeah, it's good that I'm glad that you because you own the Pro One, it's behind you, and you know that synth inside out. And for you to tell us that it's got the same character is a big thing. Yeah. And for me, we're reluctant to buy some of these clones, and this is the third clone that Behringer have done that I own that is absolutely spot on, because I've got the MS-101 and it's absolutely spot on. I've got the Model D, and I don't care what anyone says, it's bloody good. You can't say it's spot on, because a lot of the Model Ds that I've tested are like 1972, 1973 vintage. The electronic in those things has aged so much. You can't really it's not like comparing apples with apples. But if the age of the 1970s Model D was brand new compared to the Behringer, I reckon you'll hear exactly the same stuff. So, so far I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, I was in a group in the sort of late 90s, early 2000s, and we had two Pro Ones, mine and Rupert had a Pro One, and they did sound different. Mine definitely had a brighter sound than Rupert's, and all that will be is just basically its internal calibrations and the fact that these machines are old and the degradation rate. So no two analog synths of that age ever sound the same anyway. There are always subtle differences.
Yeah.
So the fact that in a new production, whether it's the Model D, whether it's the CHAT or any of these, if they've got it, almost is probably good enough. And certainly with this one, it nails it for me.
Yeah. So let's bring the chatties in now. Mr. Mac has been reasonably active in chat today, which is good. He was saying the K2, Pro 1 and Neutron are all must-haves. So, I can understand the Neutron and the Pro 1 because we've just talked about it. So, Mr. Mac, tell us why you think the K2 is a must-have. Now, for those who don't know what the K2 is, the K2 is actually a Korg MS-20, isn't it? So, MS-20, yeah. So that Behringer have actually cloned, technically now they've cloned two Korgs with the new monopoly that's come out. But yeah, tell us why you think the K2 is a must-have, because I've heard different about the K2. I've heard that there's kind of three different MS-20 sounds now. There's the original MS-20, which came out many, many years ago. There's the remake of the MS-20 with the 80% size, mini, whatever you call it, which apparently sounded slightly different. And then there's the K2 now, which sounds sort of somewhere in between the other two. So tell us what you think anyway. It'd be nice to know your thoughts.
There were two different versions of the original. There were two different versions of the original MS-20. There was a different filter, a bit like on the Odyssey. There was a filter change. So the early ones and the later ones had a different filter design.
I think Behringer did say which one they went with too. So we actually do know that. I just can't remember off the top of my head which one it was. I think it might have been the second one, because I think the second one was, the first one was a bit. One of them was more aggressive, wasn't it? Was it the early one that was more aggressive, and the second one was more kind of subtle?
Well, the MS-20 as a synth is much more aggressive sounding than say the Pro One. It really is a real fizzy sounding synthesizers. If you really want that sort of real fizzy sound that will cut through that, then the K2 is probably not a bad choice.
So he's answered. He's saying that the MS-20 is such an iconic and different take on monosynth. But yeah, it's not spot. I think it was Starsky that I think I remember doing the video on it, saying it wasn't spot on. So he's also saying that both filter versions are on the K2, so you could switch. That's good. It's good to know. Look, one of the things about the K2 that I like is it actually doesn't take up as much room as an MS-20 or even an MS-20 Mini, and you've still got all of that CV stuff going on. And not only that, but the CV on the MS-20 is different to the CV on your Moogs and on your other. You've got your volts per octave, and you've got the hertz version on the MS-20. So it's a different type of of patching. So that'll be I can see why people would sort of gravitate towards the K2. But I definitely agree. I've checked a K2 out in the store. When I was looking at the Pro 1, actually, I was looking at the K2 again, and I thought to myself, that might be next, but I'll have to wait a while because, I've spent a little bit of money lately. Now, that's what we were going to talk about next, wasn't it? We were going to talk about what gear's coming. So, and I apologise. Make sure if you're going to tell me something in the chat to put my name up first so it flags me so I can actually keep an eye on. If you guys want me to post a message below, and then we can talk about it here with Darren and Andy as well. But tell us what you have got coming into your studio. Have you ordered anything, or have you just recently got something? And tell us what it is and why you love it. And also tell us maybe what you're thinking about getting. What synth has got you gassing at the moment? Now, I'll start. So coming in, already paid, is the Darren. I don't know if I told you about this. The Create Audio Nifty case is on its way in, and so looking forward to getting that. Now, Darren, you want to just point to your Create Audio Nifty case?
Can you see
there it is? There, yep. So that's what we're talking about. I'm getting one of those, and the reason actually is exactly the same way. We've been talking about this case now for since November or whatever last year, and that is that I was actually looking for a MIDI to CV module for my Eurorack, and by the time I priced it and posted it and everything like that, I worked out that I might as well just get a Nifty case. It actually was a little bit more expensive to get the Nifty case, but on top of not just having MIDI to CV, I also have all the fact that I've got another case that I can put gear in, plus there's a few other cool features in there as well. And I like the fact that it is it's not taking up any HP. Don't you agree, Darren? It just doesn't. What's good about the MIDI to CV side of it is it doesn't take any HP up.
No, it's basically, I suppose, IntelliGel, you have those 1 unit racks, don't you, that go very small across, so you can have like your normal module and then the 1 unit size. That's basically what it's like across the top. So like you say, you've just got a case that can fit. I mean, I've got 3 modules in, but 2 of them are huge modules, so they take up quite a lot. So you've got your Metropolis and my Go-Go, which takes up quite a lot of room. So, but if you're putting in, like you say, you've got was it the filter you've got? Is it Behringer filter? Which is not huge, but if you could actually make up a really nice,
it's just a 100 filter,
effect, and a really nice synth effects box or anything you want really, just on the Nifty case. You don't need anything bigger than that. You don't need to go to something like this here, because you're just gonna what is it there? You're just gonna eat up money, and if you don't want to go the full modular route, that's probably not wise.
Yeah. Now, I'm just been busy putting all those comments in that you guys have been flagging me on, so we'll get to those in just a sec. Keep making sure you keep putting my name in if you want me to flag a comment. We'll get to those in one sec. So one of the comments was that you can just get a synth that's got MIDI and CV in it, and I do. I've got one. It's called the Neutron, and it's right here. And so do I need to have, you know, a MIDI to CV module when I've got the Neutron? The answer is no, but the Neutron's massive. This thing takes up, you know, just about the whole top row of my 2U rack root. Sorry, 6U rack root, what I'm saying. And sometimes I want to take the Neutron out and actually have it in its little module case, a desktop case, like I have with the Pro 1. So the reason why I bought the actual Neutron is actually for all of the CV functionality on the right-hand side. I've talked about this to death, so go watch some of my older show if you want to find out about that. All right, let's get to the comments. Let's have a look what these guys have been saying. So Inverted Popes is saying that he wants to get the sub Harmonicon from Moog. That's really, really cool. So, and it's arriving next week, he's saying, all being well. So that is actually really interesting. We talked about the sub Harmonicon, what, a year ago, didn't we? I think it was released at Superbooth this time last year.
Yeah.
And it took them ages to bring this out. In fact, I think they originally weren't actually going to release it as a normal thing. They were just going to, it was just going to be kind of like a Moog Fest type thing, wasn't it?
It was a DIY Moog Fest thing, and then you could, if you went to the Moog Fest, you could actually build one and take one home. With you.
Yep.
It was silver as well then.
Yeah. Now your comments are flagged below, so they'll be appearing below. Axel Soft is saying he wants to get a donkey jaw, so you know, keep on with that, matey. You'll definitely get one. Don't know what the wife will think though. If you people don't understand what that means, you've got to watch our shows every week. So he's actually saying he wants to get 2 DeepMind 12Ds sat here to be open. Wow. MPC1 due in August. Wow, that's ages. And Wave State due in September. That is actually really weird how this stuff is taking so long. Wow. Okay, I'm not sure why some of these aren't repeating, so let's delete some of these. But 2 DeepMind 12s, interesting. Nice. Mr. Mac is saying there's a clever little patch workaround to get the volts per octave on the Kato. Yes, there is. Yep. Good little point there. And 888 Berg is saying that he'd love Behringer to make the Poly 6 clone. Well, do they really need to? If they've made they've made the mono poly now, which is what, a 4-voice paraphonic synth, do they really need to make the Poly 6? I mean, Behringers don't seem to be making a lot of polys. They seem to be sort of stuck in that mono and paraphonic land. And there's a reason for it, because polys are actually quite complex to make. But watch this space, because I think they're busy with polys, and I think they're busy with the Oberheim clone and also the CS80. And I know that they're definitely the ones that they're going to be bringing up. So yeah, so far that's all you guys have flagged me to mention. Don't forget, if you want me to flag a comment, put my name first. It just makes it easier for me to find, because the chats are actually getting busier now, which is good. I don't want you guys to stop. It's a good thing. I really enjoy it.
Can we talk a bit about the subharmonicon?
Yeah, let's talk.
We mentioned it a bit, I think, last week, but then there's all the videos have come out.
Yeah.
And I have to say that I haven't seen an instrument which I have been as inspired by for a long time. I just thought, that thing is right up my street. That's really, really amazing. I know it's a very basic synthesizer in and of itself, but the way in which those sequences acts sort of polyrhythmically, and the sound that comes out. Oh, I thought it was fantastic. You know, Gaz Williams's video on it, and Mylar Melodies, his video was great. Lou Pop did one. I just found them inspiring. In fact, the sort of gear that really sort of makes me go, ooh, I'm really into that. The weird things. So things like the Lyra 8, I just thought that's an amazing. I want one of those. This subharmonicon, brilliant. The Pulsar 23. They're all expensive though, because they're all going to be fairly niche market.
Yeah.
You're not going to rush out.
DFAM, you like that?
The DFAM, absolutely, Darren. Yeah, the DFAM, wonderful. I had a good play on that at Synth Fest. I thought this is fantastic, but again, they're all quite expensive, and justifying £500-600, it's a big ask on something which is really fairly limited in its scope. I mean, it's almost,
and the harmonican's even dearer than the is dearer than the
Yeah, it's
Model
about
32 and
£700. It's
D-Fam.
£750.
Yeah.
That's what put me off, because I thought it's just if it had been the same price or similar.
You guys need to stop whinging about prices. Seriously, you don't know what prices are until you live where I live. So you don't have the exchange rate problem, and you don't have the freight problem that we have. And then on top of that, you know how you guys have VAT, we also have GST, which is the same thing. So everything plus freight, plus crap exchange rate, plus VAT or GST, we call it. So there you go. Stop your whinging.
How much would it be for you to get a sub harmonicon then?
I can find that out. But yeah, talk amongst yourselves.
If you wanted to buy one, yeah. Well, as soon as I seen it, I thought that'll go really nice with the D-Fam. I thought yes, but I looked at the price and it was like, I just don't have that sort of money to spend. Like I say, it's a unique, like the D-Fam is somewhat unique, and it's it's not going to get as much use as.
The answer is $1,500 Australian. It's $1,500 Australian. So by the time you convert it to pounds, it's, what did you guys say? It was £700.
£750.
$749, I think. Yeah.
So it's actually about the same price, which is actually quite strange. Usually things are a lot worse. So maybe, I don't know, what are they in US dollars? Let's have a look. Sweetwater's probably a good place, isn't it? To check. Sweet. I said sweeter instead of Sweetwater. I'm really good at typing when I'm on live streams. The brain doesn't work the same. By the way, someone mentioned something about Andy's video. Just remember, when you're watching this stream, the videos are coming in and then going back out again. So, it all depends on all sorts of things going on. Andy might not have the greatest internet connection in his house or whatever. So, this is COVID-19. We're not doing things from professional grade studios here. So
is it a bit laggy? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a little bit framey.
So,
yeah, but your voice is perfect. $6.99 US for Sweetwater. Now they're saying the MSRP is $8.49. They always say that though, isn't it? So $6.99 if you're living in the US. It does look really nice, I have to admit. It's got 2 oscillators. I do like how you've got, like you said, Andy, you've got the 2 sequences on it. And then you've got the polyrhythm side. And I think that whole harmonic side of it is going to be, with the filters, the way it works, I think it's going to be very, very interesting. So you've got that sort of, that resonant-y sort of side of it. I have to admit, there's some things that Moog are doing lately that really have me guessing, like the matriarch. I know that synth's been around for a while now, but like they're kind of playing with the stereo side in on an analog sort of theory, where you can spread the filters to different left and right channels, and you can also, I think it's got that analog delay built in too, which is based on the Moogfoger, which is worth an absolute fortune just on its own, that Moogfoger delay. I don't know if you guys keep an eye on how much things cost. You can't even get them anymore, and if you look on, they're about 2,000-3,000 now. They're selling those delays for. So the Matriarch's got that in there, and it's also 4 oscillators, so it's paraphonic. So if you're looking at a really sort of interesting sounding synth, that one definitely has some legs. It's more expensive than your Behringer and stuff. But if you've ever owned a Moog synth recently, I've got a Sub 37 sitting behind me. They're very, very good quality. Like, very, very good quality. You can tell the difference. So there. Okay, what else we got? I was going off on a tangent. We were talking about... We never got to... We can leave the NPC if you want to another stream. It's probably a bit hard anyway.
What about your polyend tracker?
Yeah, the polyend tracker.
You had... you was fancying one.
Yeah, I do like it still, but the more it sort of sits out there in the wild, when something releases at first, there's a big hype around it, right? And then you get time to sort of sleep on it and think about what else is actually out there in the wild. And when you think about it really, there's a couple of Eurorack modules that you mentioned there's one that you've got that's or did you have it? I don't know. I can't remember. You know, you've mentioned one before anyway. And there's also, you can use a tracker from a Commodore Amiga as well. It does the same thing. So yeah, you kind of want this. There's also software. You can still buy software trackers now. So you kind of wonder to yourself, the big thing for me was they were $700 US. And by the time that came and equated to Australian dollars, it was just, I just thought it was just way over the top when it's really just a sequencer, isn't it? You know, at the end of the day. So
yeah, it's got a sampler on board, but you can only sample, I think, 92 seconds altogether, like, can't you?
Yeah.
Of that, it's got a wavetable synth, but it's only a very basic sort of way. And you can't and there's no battery in it neither, is there? So you've got to basically connect it up to USB-C via, however. And yeah, it looked great when they were with all the sketches and what was going to happen. And then the more I've seen it, the more of it's gone, don't know, it's not really.
Yeah. Look, don't get me
not
wrong.
What you're expecting, is it?
If someone knocked on the door and said, "Hey,
good.
here's a polyend tracker, you can have it," I'd actually be stoked, because, you know, I actually do want one. But we like Andy, you probably agree. We probably have to make these decisions about gear, and some of it is to do with control. Some of us have less of that control to spend than others. But at the same time, you got to think to yourself, well, what is this going to give me really, as opposed to, you know, push the gas aside? What is this really going to give me? Is it going to give me something that I need in my studio, in my sound, in my if I'm doing albums and if I'm performing live? If it's definitely going to deliver something unique, then, you know, go for it. That's what I say. But if it's just something that'd be cool to have, you kind of got to weigh the needs to the, you know, the wants to the likes. You know, you got to kind of weigh all it up, don't you? And I'm sure people will shoot me down for saying that, but you know, the credit card has to sort of still exist. You can't just completely blow it into space, can you?
I'm sure the polyend tracker is something that, if you are into that way of doing it, it'll be right up your street. But music numbers, I don't get it. I really don't get it. I tried to watch, I think Lupop's video on it. I couldn't hack it. All it would do is give me a headache. Not my thing at all. So, but like Ramsey, you deal with computers and computer programming, don't you? So maybe that sort of system and method of data input might be just what you're after. I would start. I like to play the keyboard and play the notes in. I can do that.
Yeah. No,
type the note. No, not my thing.
I agree with you, Andy. I mean, like, yeah, I do use computers and I do that, you know, during the week. But I'm loathed to make music that way. Actually, that's the opposite. I don't want to be, you don't want to be programming Java, you know, to make a song. Does that make sense? So, like, those who are into computers will know what I mean. It's like, it's nasty. But look, I don't think it's that bad. But I mean, I've used trackers way back, you know, since the early 90s. I've used trackers, and yeah, they are a little bit laborious, and you could spend quite a long time setting up a track, and if that's what you want. I don't care what you guys say, I still swear by the MPC way of making tracks. For me, it keeps me off my computer. I don't have to use a DAW until, like Darren said, until I'm ready to sort of polish it and edit it. That's kind of when the DAW comes in. But for me, just to get ideas down, now that they've released that 2.8 firmware, I've now got up to 32 devices I can plug into that. I can map each of those devices to incoming and outgoing. And this is just MIDI based. So that we're not even talking about the sampling side or the clip launches or the, you know, synth engines that it's got in there. This is purely just it controlling other gear. Not only if you watch the Lupop video, but he actually had a noodler running in the MPC, and you know, I've known Lupop's had a noodler, you know, for the early days as well, and the guys from Xils-labs sent him that one, of course. But for me, I bought my noodler and I paid for it with my hard cash, and you know, I love the thing. And the fact now that I can use my MPC and my noodler together, and they don't become two separate things that I have to make a choice about when I'm making music. I can actually now integrate. That is huge for me, because now I've got another level that I can take my jamming sort of ideas development to, and it'll make us all become more musical. That's the whole thing. So like you were saying, Andy, like I don't want to be sitting there sequencing stuff and punching in steps laboriously like a programmer. I want to be kind of punching notes on the keyboard and have it kind of record as I go, and then I go, yep, I want that, and then you create a sort of MIDI loop, and then you kind of build, and that is much more better workflow for me. So there you go. What are the guys saying in chat? We can't forget about the guys in chat. Should go and clear this queue out, which I have. Good. Beautiful. Like, if you guys want to bring anything up in the chat, make sure you flag my name. So there we go. We're one from Mr. Mac already. I just wait for it to come up. Here we go. And that should appear any second. So he said, so he's saying he hopes it will be similar for his MPC and Squid. So what version MPC do you have? I can't remember. But Squid, yeah. If the Squid works with USB, MIDI, you can integrate the two together. And just remember too, you can actually have it tell what track you want it to play, what MIDI channel you want it to play. It's actually quite intuitive. Now, it's not just multi-timbral MIDI, it's actually like MIDI mapping and multi-timbral MIDI and routing, and you can have layering as well. So, Inky's probably been playing with their MPC all week, I'm sure. What synths did I regret buying is the next question from 888 Berg. Yeah, a few. I think it's a good question. Maybe we could make that a big topic. There's a few, yeah. I don't know about regret, but I have trouble with the Korg Radius. I actually bought it because someone told me years ago when I had I've had a Korg, micro Korg for a long time, and they said to me, oh, get a Radius, because if you want more out of your micro Korg, the Radius is the way to go. And based on the fact that I already had a Korg M3, which is their big monolith, Rompler workstation type synth, the Radius could connect up, and you're sort of opening up to VA land and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, I just never got around to loving it. I don't know why. There was just something about it. Some people will probably disagree, but yeah, it's sitting at the moment in my studio and it's for sale. So I kind of did regret buying it, but it's not really a regret. It's more it's not really a regret. It's more like I bought it and it didn't work for me. So that could be a secondary part to that question. What synths did you buy thinking that it would work and it ended up not working for you? And do you guys want to have a crack at that? Andy, what synth did you buy that you regret, or what synth did you buy that didn't work?
Typed it in the chat. The one synth I bought, which almost as soon as I got it home, I realised I'd made absolutely the wrong choice, was the Yamaha TX81Z, which was a 19-inch rack mount unit, which I bought because it was multi-timbral when I bought my Atari ST, and it was cheaper than other alternatives. Going against my feelings about FM at the time, I thought, oh, well, I'll get around it. It was impossible. It was just impossible. It sounded awful. The old proverbial about wallpapering the hall through the letterbox to program it, it was just a nightmare. So that one almost immediately on buying it, but that's for me the only one that I regret buying. There's a lot that I regret letting go of, but that's the one I regret actually
buying. Yeah. So Wagu's asked me, I've been selling the Radius for about a year now. Yes, I have. When I first said that I was going to sell it, it took me a little while before I decided to jump on the bandwagon and actually list it. And it's been listed for a while now, but unfortunately it's it kind of takes a while to sell something when I'm not going to let it go for some stupid easy price just because I don't want it anymore. I want it to go for what it's worth, and it hasn't lost value or anything. It's just that because of where I live, people inquire about it and they realize that it's going to cost a massive amount of money to freight it to another part of my country. So really, it's probably more, if I'm lucky, maybe I might get someone in my city here locally to buy it, and then when that happens, it'll go. I know there's plenty of people that have shown interest in it, but yeah, those people live overseas and they don't want to pay $200-300 Australian, or £150 or £100, whatever, freight. It's a lot of money, so that's the reason. Radius is on your wish list. Well, yeah, if you want to pay for the freight, you can have mine. Mine's the version with the keyboard, so it's the proper full Radius, not just the module. And yeah, anyway, yeah. Howard's saying regret is a strong word, but he regrets every mini key synth he ever bought. Darren, what about you? Did you have any that you wanted to add?
I think we've discussed this before. It wasn't a synth as such. It was the Roland Boutique TR09. I don't think he even took the batteries out of the packet and ended up going back in it. So, yeah, that lasted about all of 2 weeks. I twiddled the knobs a few times and went, my eyesight's not good enough, and these knobs are so small, and I've got small fingers. And it's just not... it sounded good, don't get me wrong, but I just swapped it for the TR8.
What about we flip the question around? What about what synth would you love to have, but it's out of reach? And it could be a number of reasons. It could be it's out of reach because you can't afford it, or it could be out of reach because they don't make them anymore and they're very rare, like a CS80, as an example. So, I've definitely got one that I will mention, but maybe we'll start. Andy, what synth is out of reach for you and you'd love to have?
You can do a search for this on the internet, runs there. It's a synth called the Teisco 60F, TEISCO 60F. I bought one of those for about 50 quid from Music Ground in Doncaster when I first got interested. Never heard of it. And it's an absolutely phenomenal. And I let it go years ago when I didn't really know what I had. It's basically a single oscillator mono synth. It's built like a tank. It weighs a ton. It sounds fantastic. The resonance screams without you even needing to hit a key.
Yeah.
It was the license, I think, by Kawai from ARP. So it's basically like an ARP axe, but it's and the pulse width modulation on it. I've never heard pulse width modulation as good as that. It really is fantastic. But people are cottoning on to that's the one. That's it. They are going up in price. If anybody's got one of those or sees one of those at a bargain price, get it. It is an absolutely fabulous, fabulous synthesizer, and I really wish I still had it.
So is it analog or digital?
Oh, it's analog. Yeah, it's analog. It's lovely. There are some quite good videos on it on YouTube. And you'll hear that the sound. I mean, I think they made a range. There's a single oscillator synth. There's one called the 110F, which has got 2 oscillators, and there's a polysynth version which isn't quite as good. But certainly the 60F and the 110F are really lovely synths, and they are built like tanks. They are really very heavy, and I regret that one. I traded it in for some crappy drum machine in the past. Silly.
That's
I really wish I had that.
That's kind of two topics, isn't it? It's like, what synth do you regret selling, and what synth do you really, really want is out of reach? Yeah, that's brilliant. Good answer. Darren, before I go to you, I just thought I'd grab the chatties. There is quite a few. So Michael B is saying Korg Kronos. Azio is saying Moog 1. Moog 1, yeah, I agree. Moog 1 and Jupiter 8, not so much, but I definitely agree on the Moog 1. And yeah, Axel Soft is saying MPC 1, Wave State, which are coming, mate. Just be patient. They're coming to you. But the UBXA, nice, interesting. Marcus is saying yesterday he ordered an EC4 controller. Nice. I actually don't know what that is, but you can tell us. Korg, mini Korg, right? Okay, it's an interesting one. Yeah, so far that's it. So for me, mine is probably going to be the Elka Synthex. Maybe a VCS3. I'm probably less than I used to be on the VCS3, but definitely an Elka Synthex. I still think that would be a cool synth to have. And I was getting excited a few years ago. They were going to remake it, and the guy, Mario, whatever his name is, the guy that was actually one of the original designers of that, started saying that he was going to remake this thing, and yeah, it was all going to go ahead, and then it all fizzled. So yeah, I was kind of disappointed. I'd really love to get an Elka Synthex. It's got like the Pro 1, it's got its own uniqueness about it. So I'd love to get my hands on one of those. But MPC 1 is probably a synth that I could get my hands on, but I just cannot afford it. It is so expensive. It's almost the price of a car. It's that dear. And but yeah, I mean, like the ARP 2600 is probably going to insert itself before any of those for me. So if I'm going to spend money on a synth, it'll be the ARP 2600. Now, Darren, your turn.
Interesting. I still fancy the Waldorf Quantum.
Yep.
If I was going back in time, probably the CS80, although it'd probably take up the whole of the studio really to get in here. But yeah, I'd probably go with the Quantum from Waldorf. I always had that. I mean, I always had when it first came out. I always had this like, I wish I could get one of them. Moog one, yeah, but that's like, yeah, probably that Moog one or Quantum.
Okay. Yeah, the Quantum, I actually have an opportunity to get one, but the guy that I'm not going to buy it, and I'll just be getting it to borrow for a couple of weeks. But the guy that he doesn't want to give it to me just yet because he wants to go to, I think, a few places in Australia first. So it's been floating around. So I do want to get a hands on one before I start getting excited about it. But I definitely agree, Darren. It's an interesting sounding synth.
Wow, what's up?
Definitely. So,
It's good to get the one.
Wagoo's just said he's just got a Black Corporation Xerxes. Wow. Oh no, he's saying you just get for the Elka Synthex. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you just said you. Sorry, I read that wrong. Yeah, I could, but you got to make the bloody things, and if you don't make them, they cost a fortune. So yeah, someone should do it relatively. I just not 100% on the Black Corporation stuff. There's a guy called Robin Vincent who has a channel. I don't know if you guys ever watch him, and he I forget what his name of his channel, multi something, I don't know, multi-modular.
Molten modular.
Yeah, that's it, Molten Modular.
Molten.
Nice guy. He's making the CS80 Black Corporation CS80. What's it called? Deckard's Dream, I think it's called.
Deckard's Dream.
Yeah.
So he's had that.
Deckard's Dream. Yeah, that's something else I won't mind.
Yeah, he's had that now for, I would say, at least 2 or 3 months. So, and he's pretty handy with the soldering on. He's a Eurorack guy. So, just think about it, like how he obviously might have a full-time job, he does YouTube, and he's making this on the side. So I can just imagine if I got the Black Corp Xerxes, it'd probably be like a 12-month, DIY project for me. I'd have to get someone to make it. It's just, yeah. I mean, I've still got 3 projects on the run here that it's taken forever to put together. Like the oscilloscope Eurorack project took 3 months to get the gear in. I mean, half of the reason for that was COVID-19. But by the time you order the gear, you've got bits and pieces coming from all over the world, and you get it, and you've got to start soldering it all. You've lost the
my inspiration has gone by that point.
Yeah, it's kind of. I should have just got someone to make it for me. But I'll get to it. It's like with these little projects that I do over here. Sometimes they sit here for 6-12 months before I make them, and then one day I just go, right, Saturday morning, bang, soldering irons out, and I just steam through it, just go crazy. But yeah, just quickly checking chat. So Foxy was saying, sorry, it just appeared. Didn't Inverted Popes regret selling his Moog? Don't know. Is he still there?
He's asked to go, but he did.
Yeah. I can't remember what he said.
I think he said he's owned in his time 3 mini Moogs. He's had 3 different ones in his time as a musician, and each time he's sold it, he's regretted it.
Yeah, I can remember talking about that once, but I just can't remember what it was exactly. Yeah, we could be quite dangerous and just max out our credit cards, and I could just drop money on and get a Moog 1 tomorrow if I wanted to, but probably wouldn't have a marriage, and it just isn't really worth that.
Would you be on a park bench with just a Moog 1?
Yeah, I'd just be living. The Moog 1 would be sheltering me when it rains. I'd have to hold it above my head.
Yeah, you'd have to live underneath it.
Yeah. Yeah, so Sergio has just said that Mario Maggie's new Synthex 2 synth. Look for Automat album on Wikipedia. Okay, there you go. Someone can do that. It's a bit hard for me to do Googling and stuff while I'm streaming. It's just really, really hard. But yeah. Wagu's saying, I have a DIY Decade Dream as well as a preview, but just have the PCBs and the case, not source the components. And yeah. See, that's the thing. I bought, what was it called? I bought this. Darren, you might remember me getting it. I got the Stereo Juno Chorus project, and I went out and got the actual Bucket Brigade delay chips, and so I've got all the gear, but then I have to go through this massive big build list, and I have to get all these components, and you have to go onto Mauser, and you have to go and order resistors, capacitors, diodes, all this sort of stuff, and it's just sometimes it can be really, really quite stressful, because you could stuff up your order, you could order the wrong thing, it might, you might get, I don't know if you guys know, but you can get different size resistors. You can have, surface mount resistors all the way up to really big, chunky, thick things. And you could order the wrong size. You know what I mean? You get this massive box of resistors and they're all wrong. So you got to be careful. You got to know what you're doing. And if you're not really an electronics whiz kid, it can be quite stressful. So, yeah, Wagyu, I feel your pain, mate. Just have to put an upturn hat in. Yes, 888 Berg, well done. Built-in speakers, yeah. I think that's going to get some legs, that built-in speaker joke, don't you reckon? I think, yeah. Howard's saying his Sweetwater wish list is $20,000 worth of keyboards. Wow. Yeah, if your wife is like mine, she'll ask why I need so many pianos. That's what she says. Why do you need so many pianos? Don't they all sound the same? They're all pianos, aren't they? That's a good one. Yeah, look, the Black Corporation projects are pretty high end. You'd have to know what you're doing. Like I said, like that Robin Vincent guy, he's pretty knowledgeable, so he knows what he's doing. I'm following him on social media, and I've seen some photos. He's already built the voice boards for his Decade's Dream, and his soldering is really, really good. So I wouldn't be as good as that. Yeah, 888 Bird saying that surely the Moog 1 has inbuilt speakers. Oh, jeez. Yes, the guy in Scandinavia, that's right. That was a couple of years ago, wasn't it? So do you remember talking about the Synthex? And there was this guy who found a whole bunch of Synthex spare parts in a warehouse. I think it might have been Sweden or Finland or somewhere in Scandinavia anyway. And he was going to start making the Synthex again. And I don't know, he was getting people to pre-order. I think it was $900 US. You put your pre-order in, and there was a limit to obviously how many he was going to do. But it all got shit canned because the guy, Mario, I think it might have been, basically said it's a copyright thing. Some sort of patent copyright thing. So yeah, nasty. Wagoo's saying SynthCube have bundles. Yes, for the Black Corporation stuff. And Axelsoft is saying, I bet Akai wish they had made it an armrest. I thought it was going to be an armrest. Do you remember we were talking about, we looked at the schematics like a few months ago. I thought it was going to be an armrest. I think a few people said it was going to be an armrest.
Or we went armrest, or it could be a touch strip or anything like that. We didn't sort of really go down the speaker route.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys have seen, but one of the videos, I think it might have been Lupop's video, he shined his phone light in there, and you could actually see the speakers inside. I mean, yeah.
One's aren't they pointing slightly different as well? One's pointing straight out at you, and the others are sort of angled.
Yeah. It was interesting, wasn't it? Yeah. But anyway, yeah. There you go. So we didn't get around to talking about the MPC, but don't worry. I think most people kind of know what it's doing. So I think the next thing that I need to do probably with the MPC is just really start using it. And I haven't had a chance yet. I've only just had the firmware for a couple of days, so get to use it, and maybe I can show things as they come of light. But yeah.
So you're going to tell us what's coming in your studios?
Oh yes,
That's
I was.
what you said.
Yes, I was. Okay, so I started with the Create Audio nifty case. I did mention that, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yep. So that's the first thing.
Yeah,
that should be here. I should be able to show you guys that next stream, next Saturday. But it should be here during the week. I've ordered the Math from Make Noise. That also should be here next week. And what was the other thing? A Pro 1. Yes, the other thing is the... okay, so retro kits. I've spoken about those guys before. I've got the new MIDI hub that they're making, the RK006. So I've got that coming in as well. And you guys will probably need to watch this space when not Andy, there's another Andrew that comes on the show. He's another one of the Australians that come on the show. Him and I are going to do a midweek MIDI show, and we're going to bring on Grit, who's from the Netherlands. He's one of the founders of Retro Kits, and we're going to go and check out the RK006. Now, I bought mine, so just letting you know, it's for me. I'm not getting paid for these things. But yeah, it's kind of more just Andrew and I both. Andrew's already got one. I wanted one, and we just thought, well, why not give it an opportunity for Grit to sort of showcase it. So it's interesting that Darren, the RK006, is kind of like a programming MIDI hub. You can, it's not just a MIDI hub where you can plug stuff in. It's a standalone USB MIDI host as well, so you can run without devices off of it without a computer. And there's all sorts of other stuff that it can do as well. So we'll check all that out. But yeah, looking really, really forward to the Maths from Make Noise. Really wanting to sink my teeth into that. And obviously the Create Audio case. With those Behringer modules, I don't know if you guys have got the same thing in your part of the world, but they're the System 100M clones that Behringer are doing. So whether it's a 121 or whatever the models are, I'm finding that they're not releasing them all at the same time. There seems to be like only a couple available at the moment. So is that the same for you guys?
In fact, it is. In fact, actually, I looked the other day and I couldn't even find one that was in stock. Any of them in quite a few places.
Tour models, think 2 to 3 weeks. So I was looking at those as well. It's going to be a while yet, I think.
Yeah. So the ones that I've been able to get here in Australia, and this could be similar in your part of the world, but there's like an attenuator sort of. It's literally just a module with a whole bunch of like 3.5 millimeter sockets, and it does a whole bunch of attenuating and CV sort of device. I don't really know if that's something that I will ever use. So there's that one. I could get that tomorrow if I wanted to. It's just down the road. I've got the filter, and the other one that you can get is the VCA, the dual VCA module. Now, I don't know, you don't really need a VCA module if you've already got a mixer, and you know what I mean, like this, you don't necessarily need them. For me, what I really, really want is to get their envelope, their oscillators, the sequencer I said was really cool, and also that sample and hold module that they've got. So there's probably about a picked list of about 5 of those System 100 modules that I'd love to get, and none of them are available for at least, I think it's the Toman site said it was like 9 to 12 weeks or something. So don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird.
No, wait. Well, the thing is, over here, every time Behringer releases something, it's always up on like the shops or whatever, and it always seems to be available soon, and it seems to last for, well, it feels like ever. When anything like that's launched, it just goes on forever, 3 or 4 months.
I guess we kind of got to be mindful too that this COVID-19 may obviously have some sort of impact with factories making stuff and freight and deliveries, and some countries aren't allowing, I'm sure freight's allowed
I get that
countries,
now,
but yeah, I know that would have something to do with it.
But even before we had it, every time Behringer released something over here, I always seem to struggle to get it, within that month.
Yeah.
Everyone's just, seems to be getting in, and it's like pre-order another 3 or 4 weeks yet.
Yeah.
And you think, what?
Well, it's a bit like the Pro 1. Like, Andy, we were talking before about, whether I got it or not. And when you really think about it, it's probably actually only been available in the store locally where I live, maybe for a couple of months. So, but, you hear about when they released it, and by the time you actually start shipping it, and like Behringer, it's kind of like a slow grind, the way they release their products. It may not be the right way of doing it.
It's like they've got 500 of them, and they go, right, let's release it.
Yeah, they just want people to buy them. What did you say, Andy?
I think I would say what Darren's just said is essentially what I was going to say. They've got an initial build, which they get out to as many shops as they can, but so many people are interested in them and want to get their hands on them, because, to be fair, Behringer are actually selling things that people want. People want to buy these things. They are extremely popular. So they go into the shops and they go straight out of the shops again. And once they've gone, they've got to wait for the next batch to come through. And that's going to be an ongoing thing. So in some ways, you could see it as a testimony to the fact that Behringer are building machines that people actually want to buy, and they're prepared to stump up the cash to buy them there and then on the spot. So
yeah, I think
I
was going to say, I think
not got my yellow 303 from Wagyu. Exactly. If you want a silver 303, you can get one from Toman today. But if you want a yellow one, you're going to have to wait for 3 months.
I wouldn't be worrying about.
I've been looking at that. That's been on the hit list. It said 2 to 5 days, and it never happened.
Yeah, it never happened. Yeah, we have to wait for the pink one, won't we? I was going to say that there's a theory that I've got, and it could be related to distributors, or because in some countries Behringer will sell direct to, like Toman, for example, right? Whereas other countries, they have to go through a distributor. And in Australia, it's Behringer go through a company called Australis, which obviously distribute other products as well. And so basically the way that kind of works and this probably happens in like Canada and New Zealand and South America, there's places that happens the same, is that company has to buy a consignment. And they're not going to go and buy a consignment of a whole bunch of Pro 1s. Let's use Pro 1 as an example, right? They're not going to buy a whole bunch of Pro 1s and not be able to, sell them, because they're going to end up with stock that they can't move, and then they'll be forced to discount it, and then they will lose money. So there's this whole sort of middleman problem. And not only that, but because they aren't buying as much as what Behringer want them to, like Toman, for example, they're kind of becoming like a second choice to Behringer. So as a result, Toman get the shipments first, and these other sort of distributors aren't getting the first shipments. So that could be something to do with it as well. I'm not just putting that out there. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What's on your list, Andy?
Yeah, good question.
In terms of new things for in here, the first new thing that I'm going to get is a decent camera, because this I've been talking about it for a while, but the camera in this computer is just dreadful. So a decent webcam, I think, and perhaps even a camcorder of some kind. In terms of music stuff, I'm going to try to be as disciplined as I can. I mean, I've got enough things that make sounds, but it's Ramsey mentioned in that nifty case. You're a bugger for doing that, Ramsey. Because
Sorry,
that you've got to start somewhere, and that's an ideal starting point. You know, I've been holding off from just getting the rack brute. I was very, very tempted to get a 6U rack brute.
Yep.
And just put modules in it. But now I'm sort of thinking, well, actually, that nifty, it's a bit smaller. It's got the built-in MIDI, it's got the built-in audio, it's got the power supply. I was thinking, yeah. So I think I'm very, very tempted to go down that path.
Yeah.
As a starting point.
I don't think it's a bad thing. I actually was kind of wanting to talk about this, and I wasn't sure whether it would be well welcomed or not. But I kind of have this theory at the moment about, you know, buying music gear, and one of the things I kind of really seem to like is there's so many little tiny boutique Eurorack manufacturing companies out there. There's heaps of them, and these guys put their life, blood, sweat into their products, and some of them don't even get, you know, hardly any extra sort of dollars from profit on these or anything, because it costs so much to make them and manufacture. They're so boutique, and yet they don't even get voiced because the big, massive marketing machines of those main, you know, players, like, we won't mention the names, but they always get the sort of airtime, and these little boutiques don't. So I'm kind of heading down that little path where these things excite me. So, I mean, the first one that I've got is very, very popular. It's the Make Noise Math coming. But, you know, Make Noise is still quite a boutique company. They get a lot more airtime than the smaller ones do, but this is kind of what I'm saying. And, you know, you could start to look at where do they make these things, you know, because they're not making them in some sort of slave labor factory. We won't mention any country names, but do you know what I mean? Like, there's some ethics behind it as well. Andy, I don't think you should worry about it. I think what you'll end up doing is it'll have a purpose. So your purpose will be, if you get the nifty case, you're going to start putting modules in that will be functional for something. Like, I decided that my you know, I got the 6U rack brute. So my theory with that was I wanted to sort of do things like modulation and sample and hold and, you know, kind of control voltage effects and that sort of stuff. And that's why I got the Neutron, not because of the synth, but because of the functions. And I've also got the Magneto, and I've got I don't use it very much, but I've got the Scooper. So that was kind of, you know, my rule. It was like a little toolbox, as opposed to it being another synth, because, you know, how many synths do you need? The answer is there's no limit. But you know what I mean? Like, you could sort of, you know, build yourself a toolbox.
It'll never be a little toolbox. It'll never be a little toolbox. If you go into modular, it's never a little toolbox. It doesn't matter how much you say you're going to just have one little rack with however many units you can fit in this. It will never be that. I'll tell you now.
Oh, it evolves.
You just won't.
Yeah, it evolves.
It doesn't. You evolve because you think, but I like that module, but I'm not getting rid of them, so I need a bigger case. And then when you see your case, you need to fill that case because it's just empty, isn't it?
Otherwise, it looks like a meth addict with the spare teeth missing.
Yeah, and then like there, the case is there, and it's like, well, now I really could put another case there, and that'd be a lovely wall, but I'll have to fill that other one.
Yep. Well, I mean, for me, I know, like, Andy, I don't know what you can tell us in a sec what you want to do with yours, but because I'm actually dying.
But you will like it. You will love playing the modular.
But for me, I know, and you know, people might shoot me for it. I don't care. I'm definitely getting those System 100 modules because I love that Roland System 100 sound. I don't care. Roland aren't making them, so it's not like I can go and buy them. And the you know, vintage ones that are out there, half of them are broken and don't work. They're very rare. So it's great that they're actually remaking them. And if some other company was remaking them, I'd get it through them. So it's not a Behringer plug. It's just, I actually really love the System 100 sound.
You could argue that Roland
No.
are remaking it though, because they've got the System 500 modules, which are based on the System 100M.
Yeah,
Very,
which
very
is
similar,
which is actually
but
not really
they are
Roland.
expensive.
Isn't that Maleko that are doing that? So it's not
Maleko,
really.
I think.
Yeah. They are like 5 times the price though. So there comes the price
Yeah, it's
argument.
very expensive.
It is, yeah. So Andy, tell us what's your plan?
I can't help it really. I want a Moog modular. I really do. So when there's a company called AJH, and they made a whole series of modules based on Moog modules, like a mini Moog things, and that was like the nearest thing you could get to a Moog modular in Eurorack. But now Behringer are coming out with the System 55 ones. I'm sorry, but that really appeals to me. It really does. I just want to be Tangerine Dream in my own bedroom here. That's basically what I want to do.
Yeah, the Moog modules
that might be limiting, but
I was just pause you for a sec there. Andy, I like the Moog modules. I definitely like the sound of them, but I found that they actually, I mean, they're true to their age, aren't they? They've remade, the Behringer ones have remade exactly how they were. But when you think about it, late 60s, early 70s when they came out. There's a nifty case. Hang on, let's pause for a sec.
So we've got, hey, what we got in there?
No, he's just showing what's in his nifty case.
Yeah.
Is that the Atlantis?
The Clouds. It's got the Atlantis, and it's got the what's the other one on the right called again?
That's Polygogo.
Polygogo. That's right. Yeah.
What does that do?
I'll have to show you. Luke Pop's done a great video on it. If you look at Polygogo, I think you'll love it. Even if it's just for the screen.
Oh yeah, his video. He's got a video with the screen on it. Yeah, what I was going to say, Andy, and I'll go back to you with what you plan. But those Moog modules, because they're so vintage, there's some things that they lack. Which makes it interesting. It kind of makes it like a trip down memory lane as well. But for me, the Roland stuff is really it's really, really well engineered. So they're remaking the Roland stuff, and there's so many cool things. So it'll, like for you, Andy, it'll be more about the sound as opposed to about the functionality, because you're going to be missing, they're not proper, like there's not ADSR envelopes, for example. There might be just AR or ASR, you know what I mean? Like there's all these kind of weird things that you'll have to work with. But don't forget too, you'll also be able to bring other Eurorack stuff into that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's also a question to say you'd be lacking something. I haven't got anything right now, so I'm lacking all of it. So it's just a starting point. Or there's the Dreadbox modules. They're quite interesting.
The chromatic
you can
modules,
still pick up DUP for modules for not an awful lot. So you could stick half a dozen modules in for not a huge outlay, but yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing about the modules. You can go for the Dopefer and the Dreadbox cheap modules and set out your nice little system that doesn't cost an arm and a leg, and they're not going to go away, because if you do really get into it and get more money, they'll still stay in your system. It's not like it's an old synth that you end up binning to one side, and they're always useful. They just carry on building with your system then.
Yeah. So I just thought I'd flag a few chat comments, because they're still here. We can't ignore them. So Azio's saying that he loves the System 100 as well. There's another comment that he mentioned before. I just want to get that one up. Wagu's saying he's going to build a Broland 100M and a Boog modular. There's a lot of B's in that. Yeah, go for it. They're so cheap. Like you're going to be able to build these things cheaper than what they were. That's for sure. System 100 for the win. Mode modules meh, says Mr. Mac. Okay, fair enough. There was a comment from Azio, and I don't know if it's going to come up or not. Sometimes this thing doesn't quite work. Here we go. I'm going to have to remove some. Then we'll get it to work. Hope I don't remove the wrong one. Give it a sec. So Asio mentioned that Emily from Mutable Instruments, here it is, has openly talked about how much it costs to develop modules and how many you have to actually make to break even. In other words, how many you have to sell, I guess. And I know this. Yeah, I definitely know that's it's something that she's been affected by. Because you would have noticed with her, sometimes she falls off on the development of stuff and she goes quiet for a while and then she jumps back on. And it's probably one of those sort of love-hate type industries too. But yeah, this is exactly the reason why I actually think some of these boutique modular Eurorack sort of companies, they need to get a little bit more love from us, because I really do think now that we've probably hit that a bit more of a sort of Eurorack is a bit more mainstream now than it used to. It used to be more sort of the Wigglers versus the Synthy. It used to be kind of like different camps, but I think it's hit more of a mainstream sort of thing. Do you guys agree? Do you think Eurorack is more mainstream? Like a lot more people have got it than 2 or 3 years ago.
Well, look at some of the synths that are having CV out, and like the MPC's now got CV outs and things like that, because they know you can combine the two quite nicely. You don't have to be one or the other anymore. Yeah,
I mean, Emily is an amazing, like Azio's mentioned, she's like one of the probably one of the best people in the modular world, because not only has she developed like code and algorithms for certain digital sort of things for Eurorack that other people have gone and copied, and she openly just lets them, like the MIDI Power, whatever it was called. That's an example that other people just went and copied. Things like that. She, very, very clever person. Clouds is another example. Yeah, she just stops making stuff because obviously either she's just moved on from it, or she didn't sell enough, or whatever the reason for it is. But yeah, so there you go. I mean, that's the modular world, and the other part of the modular we were talking about before is where you've got to actually get the soldering iron out. So it's more of an open world, if that makes sense. Like you've got a bit more freedom. It can be a bit scary, but you, like Andy, you can really put anything together. Your little adventure that you're about to embark on is going to be actually good fun. Yes, it's going to cost a bit of money, but just do it like I do. Just do it slowly. If money's an issue, just take your time. Like, I don't know how you guys have been watching me, how long that little area of my modulars sat empty for months and months and months, and then I was just waiting. You got to be patient, just waiting for that Eurorack module to come out, and bang, it's out. So then, now when the Nifty case comes out, it'll be all system 100 or whatever I decide to do, and then the math will go into there, and then a little oscilloscope when I finish making that'll go in there. So it's kind of, oops, sorry, Mike. It's it's kind of like that whole process where you just think to yourself, I'd really love to do this and make it fun. Like, don't make it a sort of a drag. Like, oh no, God, it's going to cost me so much money, and what's the wife going to say? Make it fun. You can sneak modules into. They'll never know.
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. My earlier videos, this case behind me, I think only had three modules in it. It was just bare. There's just 3 modules in it, and that was all it was. I was using for creating some weird sounds and put through like an effects pedal. Spend hours. Sometimes if I mess about with the modular, you don't always get things done because you spend so much time tweaking and coming up with things that you didn't think you would do, and not hitting record on something.
Yeah, it's and the thing is that whatever that even when you had 2 or 3 modules in that, you obviously were excited by it, so it was making music for you at the time. That's kind of the bottom line, isn't it?
Do you know the good thing about it, Andy, is if you buy a synth or anything, you always feel that someone else can come up with a sound similar because they have that synth. But when you've got modular, it's like it's so hard for someone to come up with exactly what you've got. Because even if they've got the same kit, they're not necessarily going to wire it the same way. They're not going to have it set up exactly the same. Whereas a synth, everyone's got that synth. They've got that presets or analog. You can recreate that a lot easier than you can come up with stuff in the modular, which makes you feel really good when you come up with a cool sound that it just comes from nowhere.
I think you're right, Darren. I think that is its single biggest selling point is no two systems will ever be the same, unless of course you buy an off the shelf one. But I think most people won't do that. They'll want to have their own. So yeah, even if your starting point is, oh, I want to build my own little mini Moog modular using lovely new Behringer modules.
Yeah, do it.
Further down the line, you're going to have other things built into it. I like the idea of I forgot, was it Asio Head who said it? He wants to make a Roland and a Moog system. He could get like have a row of the Roland modules and have a row of the Moog modules, and you've got both, and then you'll probably put a couple of Erica Synth things in there and all sorts of stuff. There is a lot of, I mean, one of the problems, of course, is there is so much stuff out there in terms of modular. Where do you actually start? Oscillators. What's the difference between this oscillator and that oscillator? They've got, and it's a bit you go on to things like Toolman and select the modular and then oscillators, and you get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these different oscillators, and you think, oh my god, that one costs £79 and that one costs £450.
Yeah.
Why? It's mind-numbingly complicated. But I think, like you say, you've just got to take the plunge, and I'm getting closer and closer to jumping.
There was an oscillator that Ken Flux with it, Pierce, was telling me about social media the other day, and I forget the name of it. I'll see if I can find out in a sec. But yeah, when you're talking about oscillators, this thing was like insane, and it's like oscillators on some sort of rocket ship. It's crazy. I'll find out in a sec what it is. But while we're talking about ASIO, mentioned something really, really cool. He said, get your wife or the husband or to teach them how to solder, and I do one better. You slave labor with your kids. There's my 16-year-old son stuck with the soldering iron, and he was getting involved. So don't worry about it. Just get on with it. Slave labor your kids. Get them to do stuff. Yeah, I'll try and remember the name of that module. It's definitely a good one. Ken, if I don't know if he's on or not, but he'll jump in and tell us. I'm sure. But anyway, we're probably getting close to the end of the show. It's been a couple of hours now, so according to a bit over 2 hours now. So
time flies.
Time
does fly when you're having fun, and I do hope we kind of
yes.
Yeah. What?
I was gonna say my track tomorrow. I will have a vocal on it. My vocal.
Are you singing or is somebody else singing, Darren? Or are you allowed to say?
It's not a brand.
No, it's me.
Is it?
It's my vocal. No.
It's your vocal. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, check out.
But seeing as it's
absolutely in awe of your track.
Check out Darren's track tomorrow. Now, the last you got a hard act to follow, Darren. Those last couple of tracks you've done have been pretty awesome. So
absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
really, really good stuff.
You've set yourself a pretty high bar to to tackle. So be keen to see what you come up with.
Well, this track tomorrow was partly done last year, and I thought I'll finish it off to go out for this weekend. So it's not. I've got a couple of hours work on it yet, but it's not far off.
Fair enough. All right. Well, on that note, I think Andy, did you want to say any parting words, or we can all just go off and wiggle with our modular, I guess. Play some.
Yeah, something like that.
Play some Pro 1 on the way out. Anyway, guys.
Actually, Rans, I will ask you.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you a question, actually.
Yeah.
Have you tried to use the internal sequencer on your Pro 1?
No, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah,
no.
Because mine was doing something very strange, and I don't know if I was doing something wrong, but it certainly wasn't working like my original Pro 1
Yeah,
did.
right.
I went, oh, why is this? So it was like, oh, this is strange. So it would be interesting to know if you do have a play about with it, if you can actually get it to work, because mine didn't seem to work properly. So I'm wondering whether I've actually got a fault on it.
Yeah,
Anyway, let me know.
I will. I have used the ARP on it, so that works fine. And you use the
there you go, Andy.
Use the LFO knob to change the tempo of the ARP.
Go on, Darren. Sorry.
Yep.
You've already got some CV to plug into when you start your small modular system.
Well, I've already got my first Eurorack module there. Yeah, definitely. That's the first one. But it's a bloody big module.
It's pretty big.
Sense.
Yeah.
But it's got lots of things in it. So, but you're right. It's got. I mean, I think
what runs them side by side.
Yeah, the Neutron, because it's got that massive big sort of matrix thing on the right hand side. Don't forget though, it's not just because I didn't get it just because it's got it. I got it because of what it actually did, and I was it was a whole different sort of thought process. So I was traveling, Andy, down a road where I have Moogafogers, and I was going to get a CP250, which is a Moogafoger add-on where you can actually start mucking around with sample and hold and skewing and attenuators and that with your Moogafogers. And then I thought to myself, well, I don't need to do that for the price. It was like, $500 for one of these Moogafoger boxes, when I could just get the Neutron, and it does the same stuff. It has attenuators, it has skew, it has sample and hold. It's got an inverter, it's got a MIDI clock, it's got everything, plus more. Plus, it's also a synth. So it was a win-win, no matter you look at it.
It's great in the box, isn't it?
Yeah. There's a few things I don't like about the Neutron as a synth, but I kind of just push it aside because it's not really why I got it. So for me, it's kind of, in fact, I actually use the oscillators as modulation sources, not actually as a musical oscillator. Yeah. So anyway, that was kind of why I got it anyway. So anyway, we should finish with a bit of Pro 1, as I was trying to do before, and we'll just say goodbye to everyone. Thanks everyone for watching.
Take care, folks.
Take care.
See you, everybody.
We'll go to the view of it. See you later, everyone.